What the fuck were we doing looking for hats? No, bombs. Bombs at the barbershop. That's what we were doing, looking for bombs. Bombs to blow up the refinery that we don't know where is yet. So now seems like a good time to discuss the paywall in this mission. This chapter, if you will. Because chapters have many missions. But the paywall in this chapter is stupid for several reasons. Firstly, if the paywall of $10,000 to get the bombs is intended to encourage players to explore, it's too late in the game for that. There are only 2 more chapters after this one. If the $10,000 paywall was much earlier in the game, then perhaps that would encourage players to explore and partake in the side missions and enjoy the fun of the side missions, which they normally wouldn't otherwise. But because it's so late in the game, if you're the kind of person who is playing this game like a linear action beat-em-up just to finish it, then this would just frustrate you more than anything else. The game lets you go from point A to point B, so when the game suddenly stops you from doing that and asks you for an obscene amount of money, only obscene if you're playing the game like a linear game, mind you, then you're going to get upset. What's worse is that the game suggests that you rob people in order to get the money, instead of suggesting you partake in side missions, which are a far easier and more fun way to obtain money. So if this was a way to encourage the player to partake in side missions, it's very ill-conceived, and I don't approve of it. And it's also bad for... Excuse me. It's also bad for players who are exploring the game world, because if you're exploring the game world, then the paywall is useless, because $10,000 will be virtually nothing. To anyone who actively seeks out and completes side missions, $10,000 is just pocket change, especially if you're trying to get the Godfather ending. Anyway, this is Carlo. We need to beat him up in order to find out where the drug refinery is. We're a little bit wasted right now, having a bad trip. But that shouldn't stop us from taking down Carlo. Carlo is one of the wimpiest characters in the game. And I guess they tell you he's going to be wimpy ahead of time, so it works. Camera, thank you. You know, there doesn't seem to be any effect on negotiation when you have a bad trip. Like, the negotiation doesn't change any when you have a bad trip. It goes the same no matter what. I think it would have been more interesting if having a bad trip changed negotiation mechanics some, but at the same time I think it's funnier that they don't, because Raven already acts like he's fucking wasted all the time, so really it fits. Is there really, did there really have to be a loading screen here for this? It's a long loading screen too, damn. Alright, hey look, the drug factory is in that area that I theorized it was in. Right up there at the right up there at the top. I can do thinking. I can do the thinking thing, video game. I know how to make thoughts. Okay? Okay, so there will be another mobile save point. That reporter lady just standing here outside of the factory zone. She doesn't have anything specific to say outside of the factory zone, sadly. Sometimes she gets new unique dialogue, but not always. Anyway, out of all the chapters and missions in the game, I think this one is the one that comes the absolute closest to what people would have imagined when they first heard of this game's existence. It's comparable to the it's comparable to the mission in the last chapter, where we went through the wharf to fight Eugene, where we fought a bunch of smaller guys on the way to a boss, except this one is even more so. This mission right here is basically just an old 2D beat 'em up, but in 3D. There are a lot of group fights, and then you fight a boss battle. I do think it's worth saying that you can technically sneak past all the enemies in this narcotics factory. I do think that's worth saying. I don't do that. I just decide to punch the shit out of everyone. This whole section feels a little weird, but it's not unwelcome, though it will probably get tiring for some people on multiple playthroughs, which you do need if you want to get everything. Because there's no way you're going to get the Godfather ending on your first playthrough. Don't fucking kid yourself, okay? There's some incredibly minor pathfinding. You mostly just beat up a bunch of dudes and then you get to a boss battle. And that's it. If the whole game were like this, we wouldn't be playing this game right now. Not because this is awful, but because it would be painfully mediocre instead of the creative masterpiece that it actually is. Again, Beatdown is an open-world JRPG. It is not your grandma's fuck 'em up, like Streets of Rage or Golden thing. And it is especially not like Golden Axe 2, because Golden Axe 2 on the Genesis is complete bullshit, and I hate it. I mean, the group fights in this game are pretty bullshit too, but I'm pretty sure they're just supposed to be chaotic nonsense. Chaotic, beautiful nonsense. I think someone threw sand at the back of my head a moment ago. I don't know which of the enemy characters that was, but apparently one of the enemy NPCs has Dust Shoot. Okay, Tank, I love that drop kick of yours, but you have to hit someone with it, okay? Really, the only reason you're on my team right now is because I think your existence is humorous, so you gotta pull your own weight. Yeah, like that. Punch people. So yeah, this entire mission is like this. You go from one room to another and then punch people, and then you loot their bodies and then go to another room and punch more people. The group fights are not strategic enough for me to pretend that I'm doing something special here. I'm really just mashing square until everyone falls over, regardless of the enemy type. There will be a point in the game where I have to mash square a little more thoughtfully, but that's not because my own health is at stake. We'll get there much later. I think it's funny that there's just a boss waiting at the very end of this maze in the narcotics plant instead of him actively coming to us. It does say that we need to take these guys out before they call for reinforcements, but I've never seen them call for reinforcements, not once. So I'm not confident that they do that. And you can't tell me these security guys specifically need to contact the boss, because people have cell phones. That's how I contacted Tank and got him to come with us, because I have a cell phone. Cell phones exist in this universe. You want to tell me cell phones don't exist in your universe? That's fine. Maybe the first wave of cell phones blew up everyone's face, and nobody ever wanted to buy a cell phone again. Sure, I'll buy that. But cell phones clearly exist. I'm using one, unless mine is a prototype, and nobody else has one. But then how do other people answer? Do they answer with chips that are implanted in their brain? It's getting out of hand. Alright, so we're nearly to the boss. He's just through that big door right there, which is being guarded. And it's just 3 guys guarding the door. So this is nothing. We've done this before. After we take out these 3 guys, we're going to heal ourselves up and then prepare ourselves for maybe the easiest boss fight in the game. I'm 90% positive he's the easiest. Because I'm pretty sure Wendell was harder. I'm not saying it's not possible to lose these group fights, by the way, especially when they come in larger numbers. They can be a bit of a hassle. But it's really just about preparations. If you're healed up properly, then you're probably going to do just fine. You don't really have to try very hard, as you're seeing. You don't have to try particularly hard. I don't think I've hit someone in like 5 combos. There we go. I got him that time. And here I was complaining that Tank wasn't doing enough while I'm flailing at the air. Yeah, Tank, you get him with that golf club? Careful, man. I saw a solid pipe shatter earlier, so that golf club might not last very long, alright? Should save that for when you realize... I'm getting so many brass knuckles off of random people. Alright, time to heal ourselves up, and then we'll go fight the boss. I quote the boss in daily life, and I don't know why, because he's not particularly quotable. Maybe I just think his existence is funny, just like Tank's, for no particular reason.
Now hold still, so I can finish you off! I should thank you for taking care of that piece of shit Eugene. That puts me one step closer to becoming the boss myself. Once I bring your head to Zanetti, it won't be long until they call it the Gregorio family.
So Gregorio has an immense amount of health and he hits very hard, but he is insanely weak to grapple attacks. He is just the worst at getting out of grapple moves. The absolute worst. So this is what the whole fight's gonna be. Anyway, I said I quoted Gregorio a lot in everyday life. I usually say, pretty soon they'll call it the Gregorio family. And my brother is the only one who understands what the hell I'm talking about. But the first time I said that, he asked, wait, what is that guy's name again? And it took him a moment to realize I just said it during the quote. The guy's name is Gregorio. I don't know how you forget a name like Gregorio or Gregorio's outfit. Gregorio's outfit is insane. I don't know how you would forget an outfit like that. Gregorio's fighting skills are not insane. They are awful. This is an awful boss. Oh, we're done.
Damn! Stronger than I thought.
Alright, so now we have to make our way back through the refinery, and you may be thinking, well that sucks, but it's actually a little harder this time because they increased the volume of enemies and the enemy placement is a bit smarter. Oh yeah, also we have a time limit. That adds to the difficulty a little bit, but if you know where to go, then this is nothing. It may be difficult your first playthrough because you might not know where to get to the exit, but I have this pretty much this entire game memorized, at least the parts that are easy to memorize. I would have brought 2 allies instead of just 1. Normally I would bring 2 allies to an area like this. But I don't want to waste all my resources keeping 2 people alive, and Tank has a decent amount of health. We're gonna need those resources. You know, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep pretending we're going to play through the whole game as Raven. If you saw the bars increase at the end of each chapter, then you know there's no way we're going to get the bars to increase all the way before we reach the end as Raven. So after this chapter, we're going to be switching to a new character. A character with a more interesting moveset and a more interesting story. And we're going to be getting the Godfather ending with that character instead. The reason we're switching off is because I didn't want to bog down all the videos with me recruiting every NPC possible as Raven, which is basically what you need to do to get the Godfather ending. So I did one casual playthrough as Raven, and then one serious get the Godfather ending playthrough as someone else, and I recorded both, so that way I could show both at the appropriate times. So yeah, this video is the last we're going to see of Raven as the main protagonist. Raven will make a cameo when we switch to the other character, and he will be so much more important in the cameo than he ever was when he was the protagonist. Because it's hilarious. It's my fucking favorite part of the game.